Unfortunately, what the Electoral Commission is proposing does not relate to a normal situation. Right Honourable Speaker, the framers of the 1995 Constitution anticipated that at one time there would be corona in this country, that at one time there would be floods, that at one time there would be war, and as a result made answers to such situations. They provided Article 77, they provided Article 103, they provided Article 110. There is no way, Right Honourable Speaker, you are going to issue guidelines that relate to exceptional circumstances and apply them to a normal situation. I want to find out from the Minister for Justice why government is finding it extremely difficult to declare a state of emergency, to have some time so that we have an enabling legal framework to guide the elections. Right Honourable Speaker, I will give three scenarios. Number one, we have lost 3 months for those who want to contest to be presidents. The Presidential Elections Act is very clear in Section 2. Anybody who wants to contest for presidency notifies the Electoral Commission a year towards nomination. People did notify the Electoral Commission. They have not been able to traverse the country because of this situation. What are you going to do with the 3 months that have been wasted? Number two, Right Honourable Speaker, we are aware that the Electoral Commission is giving guidelines that contravene the electoral laws. For example, every candidate is supposed to have 2 agents at a polling station. That's what the law says. How are you going to stop candidates from deploying agents simply because of these regulations without amending the law? If a constituency has, for example, 20 candidates, then that means you have 40 agents that are supposed to be at the polling station as a matter of law. What are you going to do with that without addressing the legal framework? Number three, Right Honourable Speaker, we are supposed to verify academic documents, those whose academic documents are not very straight and clear. But that verification, Right Honourable Speaker, is done in consultation with the institutions of higher learning. Those institutions, as we speak now, are closed. How is the verification going to be undertaken, Right Honourable Speaker? And what is the minister going to do about that? Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, under what legal framework is the Electoral Commission issuing that roadmap? Right Honourable Speaker, the Electoral Commission under the law has no right to ban public meetings. They don't have that right. That responsibility is an exclusive preserve of the Minister for Health under the Public Health Act. I want to ask the Honourable Minister, has the Minister for Health banned public meetings till January of next year? Where is the legal framework? Where is the enabling instrument? I have been on this floor, Right Honourable Speaker, asking the Minister for Justice to avail to Parliament a legal framework that governs this country during this COVID. Even the guidelines they are talking about have never been gazetted, don't appear anywhere in the statutory instruments. How are you going to run the country on guidelines when you have a very clear framework of coming to this Parliament, ensuring that they are enabling laws to guide the country? Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I foresee, as a senior lawyer in this country, we are most likely to have petitions either before or after this election for something we can avoid. It is better, Right Honourable Speaker, to do it the way Parliament did it. When we were faced with the COVID, Right Honourable Speaker, you directed our committee, the Rules Committee, to come up with the rules to guide a hybrid arrangement. This Parliament did amend our rules of procedure. We now have a virtual Parliament. The Electoral Commission wants to conduct elections without amending the law. That is going to be a recipe for disaster. We are likely to have a lot of legal challenges, and I don't think it is good for the country. It is only wise, Right Honourable Speaker, that as a Parliament, we demand that without the necessary legal framework, we should not be hurrying to have an election. After all, even the President himself is on record to have said if the disease escalates, then it is useless to have an election. Has he backtracked on his position? Is the disease escalating or not? So those are the circumstances, Right Honourable Speaker, we must be looking at. I don't think, Right Honourable Speaker, it is wise to stampede this country with an election where the Electoral Commission is not ready and Ugandans are not ready. I thank you.
Una Nuagava Fungaro. When you are going to use a TV, how will the deaf hear? And not all the deaf know sign language. Unfortunately, we who represent people with disability are not consulted. Because we know what happens to our people. People think, let's just do special interest groups. Right now, there's no civic education. I have just come down from the ground, and people are asking me questions. I don't work with the electoral commissions. I don't have answers. How are they going to do it? Is it in the district? Are they going to move? Who's going to move all these people who are crawling? Mr. Minister, when we think about Ugandans, Article 1 says power belongs to the people, and those disabled people are Ugandans. And I think we need to respect their rights. We are not going to be taken like a bandwagon because we have to do elections. Maybe we can elect others and first leave us to get prepared. Because at the end of the day, Honorable Minister, a person who's blind will look at a TV and does not understand what's happening on that TV. So are you telling me the proposals you are bringing are all inclusive? We are here promoting SDGs and saying leave no one behind. But in this election, you intend to leave us. It is a deliberate thing to leave disabled people because people think they are very few. But we are not few. In terms of votes, we're about 4 million. In terms of votes. And you don't vote us, but we vote you. Because disabled people will vote for PWDs, they'll vote for the other area constituency MPs, and they vote for the president. So why would they be taken like we are beginning the special interest groups without any training, without any sensitization? And every time I see the chairman of electoral commission talking on TV, there's no sign language interpreter, and I'm like, oh my God, whom is he talking to? So, Mr. Minister, let us come with a mechanism which will help people to appreciate their rights, and they should not be locked out. You know, a deaf person will want to participate to become a member of parliament. A blind person will want to become a member of parliament. But now we are going to make them, regulate them to become voters only. Because the law says you can either be voted or you can vote. So, Minister, I'm talking for my people with pain.
We have reports, and the minister should allay our fears, that the printing of ballot papers, the provision of voter identification machines and transmission of results has already been given to a German company called Verodas by the NRM sole candidate. We also are aware that the Electoral Commission announced and called bids for those who wanted to supply those services, and actually the bids came, and the Electoral Commission sought legal clearance from the Attorney General. But as the bids are stuck with the Attorney General, the sole candidate has taken over not only printing of ballot papers, he has taken over the provision of voter identification machines and transmission of results. In fact, now the Electoral Commission is being told to surrender the voters' register because these machines have to be fed with this information. We want to know, Professor Kamund, having been part of the UPC government and you saw what the elections caused, whether in your own judgment, you think this election, my colleagues who are lawyers have told you how it offends the principles of the Constitution. But also, elections are not just about candidates and electoral commission, they're about the entire country. That's why the first exercise was not to register candidates, but to register citizens to participate. And the Constitution envisages active participation. You are now telling a candidate to speak to no audience. Just imagine that people are listening even when they are not listening. So there are two questions I am asking. First, why the sole candidate of NRM has taken over these roles of a commission that you have told Parliament is independent? Finally, Madam Speaker, whether you think this election won't cause problems like the one of 1980?
Honorable members, this House is on record as having undertaken a measure of looking into amendments of the enabling laws to mention the parliamentary elections and that for local government and even that for presidential. If all the powers there be deem it fit that there is desire for an election in these abnormal times, we still have room to make all the necessary amendments and accommodate whatever we are doing within the ambits of the law. Therefore, since the president has not assented to these bills as per se, let him go the extra mile and say, these are my proposals through either other amendments or proposals to this August House. But with the absence of the definition of what entails to be a political meeting, then there cannot be any direct election. And therefore, the effects of the election that we shall have will be similar to the effects of the interventions and the guidelines he has been issuing on COVID. Zigzag, never straight, and leave everyone confused, and consequently, they would need everyone to come back hence and forth to create clarifications. Elections should be straight and forward.
Information or submission?
My point of information, Right Honourable Speaker, to my honourable colleague, is that I agree with him entirely and state that if we want to call it a dress, let us sew it as a dress. If we want to call it a trouser, it must be tailored as a trouser. Otherwise, we cannot be ambiguous to call it an election when it merely looks like a mere selection. Right Honourable Speaker, as I wind up, Madam, can you envisage a situation where special interest groups, for example, the elderly, how will they campaign on TV and radios? The youth, no, it's important. It's not about age.
Now,
right now, as the special interest groups are going to nominate and campaign, imagine numbers and numbers at
Honorable
villages.
Sereko, now you are using a...
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
The duty of the Electoral Commission is to organize, among others, a free and fair election. The minister concentrates on what he called a regular election. Now, is it the opinion of this minister, therefore, that you can conduct a free and fair election where voters have no access to the candidates and the candidates have no access to the voters? An election that is devoid of transparency. We've been accompanying our our results from the polling station to the district to avoid what the Commonwealth did in 1980. A curfew starts at 7 o'clock p.m. and these elections cannot be followed. Is that a free and fair election? It can only be answered in the affirmative by a skewed common sense that is not common to everybody. Madam Speaker, whereas the Electoral Commission has the power to regulate the conduct of elections and campaigns, whoever advised the Electoral Commission that they can make and change the laws in this country? And this is where the confusion starts. Instead of issuing a roadmap, the Electoral Commission proceeded to issue guidelines in the same roadmap. And these are entirely two different things. And ladies and gentlemen, this is something we need to understand. It's not about Segona of DP. It's not about Kasaija of People Power. It is about all of us.
Honorable Matthias Mpuga. Honorable Segona, sorry, who is a lawyer, to refer to the Minister of Finance, who is a senior member of NRM, that is the People Power. Is it in order to refer to the Honourable Minister that is People Power when he knows that the Minister is NRM or NRM ticket here in Parliament?
My view is that common sense dictates that if the state and Uganda are not ready for elections, we cannot go for elections. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, there are election campaigns going on in the US. There is voting today in Malawi, and things are operating normally. How can the Electoral Commission say we have banned what we call massive campaigns when they have not defined them and when they do not have that lawmaking power so as to provide definition for an instrument that has the force of law? May the minister therefore undertake the noble but natural obligation to bring laws in this House so that we can make laws to regulate this particular election being an election that is special in character, other than running away from the responsibility. Let me finally conclude with this warning to him. His predecessor, General Otafire, is a minister who failed to bring laws in this House for close to 9 years. Where is he? He's an elected member of this House. You can be defeated through machinations. Of course, I can hear order from somebody who has never won an election.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, in engineering, we design for worst scenarios. So for us, the engineers who are here and other members, we are ready for campaigns because that's the worst scenario. Madam Speaker, in Butaleja and Uganda in general, people, even who appear much on TV, who have very many posters, or who may have money, usually don't go through. A case in point, Honorable Salirwa didn't have enough posters in Ibujiri. Our NRM candidate had very many posters, but Honorable Salirwa is here. So it doesn't matter whether you're on radio, whether you want members, people know the people they want to vote. Madam Speaker, our nominations, Madam Speaker, are voluntary, and I advise members, if you think Electoral Commission is taking you for a ride, don't go for nominations, because it's voluntary. They are not forcing you. Finally, Madam Speaker, in case members are aggrieved,
Point of order, Honorable Joe Yumum.
Madam Speaker, I respect my honorable colleague. We are lawmakers. And Madam Speaker, nobody is opposing the elections that is forthcoming. We all appreciate and we are all willing to go for elections. The House is emphasizing that there is no enabling law. And this is what we are calling upon the Minister and the Electoral Commission to bring to this House. Madam Speaker, is the honorable member in order to force members to do what is illegal and is not acceptable by this House? Is he in order?
Madam Speaker, I didn't direct any member. In fact, I was saying those who are willing should get nominated. Those who don't want members, I can see Hono Segona and what? They are lawyers. They can go to the law firms. This is what I'm saying. Now, Madam Speaker, when we try to say that we extend elections, people may think that Parliament is giving itself the 2 years which the court nullified in Mbale. So, on behalf of the people of Butaleja, Madam Speaker, I want to say let us go for elections, otherwise people may think Parliament is bringing the 2 years which they passed. So members, get prepared for elections. If you don't want, just stay. Thank you.
Sechkubo then Mongoma, Chinji, Isala.
If we are in pandemic, war, we are in a war. The environment is not normal. So, should you operate as if you are in a normal way? You can't operate in a normal way. Why don't you bring the environment to operate in those laws that enables you to do what you want to do? Bring the rigorous framework. Nobody is avoiding it. We are here. Second, Madam Speaker, if history is forgotten, the future is lost. Politics can never be quantified and cannot be played around. The public opinion, they are saying, we are locked up in the houses. We don't have food. We don't have anything. You are telling us to go and vote for leaders?
Which leaders? Some districts are under lockdown. You mean others are going to go to vote and others are not going to go to vote? What is going to happen? Honorable Minister, Electoral Commission, nobody says that is not a referee. What does it cost to sit with the players and say, what should we do in such a situation, instead of dictating terms? Even if you are a referee, you go in the program to preside over a match, and the players don't come, will that match be genuine? That's why even a referee, when he goes in a program, he says, he calls the captains and asks them, please, what should we do? Which side do you take? They generate a consensus. Nobody is against having election. But the situation we are in is a war. It cannot be normal. So why should we go ahead and do whatever is abnormal? So the best way to go about it, please, the Electoral Commission should go and say the situation. The Electoral Commission has changed its roadmap 3 times. Even now, it can change. Suppose the war breaks up between January and February. Shall we have elections? Because there is a law. It can be postponed. So we can't say, yes, you can have a war in February and in January. It can happen. So will you have election in that time?
Okay.
Already we are in a war and you are stating it. You are saying others should go, be free, others are not free, but you are telling them, please.
Meetings can be between 2 people. Those are political meetings. Rallies can be 1,000 people. So when you say mass meetings, what do you mean? We need numbers. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are also here, we must also be cognizant of the situation in which we live as a country. Where are the televisions? Where are the radios, broadcasters, and receivers going to be placed? We know that there are people in the constituencies like Obongi, where there is no electricity, and therefore television sets may not even be able to function for those who are able to afford. Now, rural constituencies which do not have access to radios, televisions, and other means of communication, how are they going to receive the information from those who will be speaking from wherever they speak from? Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, it is on record that some people in this country, particularly leaders of the opposition, political leaders like Dr. Kiza Besigye, the party president of Forum for Democratic Change, Engineer Patrick Amoria Toboy, and some of us, including me, we have ever been sent away from radio stations. Even when we were allowed to talk, we paid, there was no coronavirus. But the RDC, for example, of Ajumane, issued a letter that we have stopped you from talking on the radio. What's going to happen this time, even when the RDCs now are in charge, ostensibly, of the safety of the people of Uganda during this COVID period? The RDCs, it must be known, are functionaries of the president. President Museveni appointed them. They will be working during the campaign and working for their candidate, President Museveni. Will they allow a Semuju? Will they allow a Segona? Will they allow Asumani Baselwa to speak giving facts to the people on the TV, even when he has access to the TV? No, it cannot happen. Switching off of power. Therefore, right, Honorable Speaker, there are people who say this. Just a moment, my brother. It is very important for every human being to have values to live for and values to die for if necessary. Mandela said this. For us here, we are aware of the fact that the current government led by General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni took these values. He had values to die for in order to access political power. He took up arms, went to the bush, survived the death. Other people with whom he went died. Other people who supported him also died in the process. They were killed by those who opposed him. We have not yet reached that position. of taking a decision of whether we live for or die for the process of accessing political power. But Ugandans must not forget about this. We are all equal players in all these things here. We are here because we have agreed to the principle that we should sit together and govern Uganda together like this. The people who work with the RDC must be guided. They must remain within their limits of power and authority. They must not threaten people. Like what I see in Moyo, I see in Obongi, I see in West Nile, I see in Arua. When they see Fungaro coming for a radio, they deploy the police. They deploy the army. Honorable members, you are lucky to be in Kampala. What happens to my colleagues here in Kampala, you can see on TV. But there are some of us who live in the rural areas. We are molested, we are witch-hunted, we are molested and beaten up without you seeing. What is going to happen in the darkness of this thing coming next?
The first consideration, Madam Speaker, I'm sure you'd agree, was security and safety concerns of the population. The prevailing health situation in the country poses the question on how safe, is it safe to hold elections in the usual traditional, conventional manner? If you pose that question, yes, there will be people who say, yes, rain or shine, we must have them conventionally, but you should remember protecting the lives of the citizens and their property is the first duty of government. This is a major consideration. Accordingly, the Ministry of Health and the Scientific Advisory Committee, their advice is restrictions on political gatherings should be maintained. The situation is not yet normal for normal conventional campaigns. Number two, which is the second consideration, was the legal and constitutional requirements. I have been at pains to elaborate all these provisions I have quoted. Was quoted specifically to put minds of the members at ease that indeed every provision of the law is followed. So, the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda is the supreme law of the land and must be protected, defended, and respected. Accordingly, the country is compelled to hold presidential, general parliamentary, and local government council elections within the first 30 days of the last 122 days before the expiry of the term of government. That is between January 10th to 8th February 2021. The third consideration was public expectations. Madam Speaker, since 1996, Uganda has consistently held elections every 5 years. Periodic elections are part and parcel of the country's now historical mission of sustainable peace, security, and stability, and it has now become normal for the public to expect every 5 years for the people of Uganda to choose their leaders through elections. The Electoral Commission has done a risk analysis. I just want to confirm to members, the Electoral Commission has done a risk analysis. They didn't just come to these figures out of their imagination. Coronavirus impact and instituted mitigation measures in line with the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. These decisions are informed by science. It is not just out of the blue. It has also considered the need to preserve the health of the citizens against their constitutional and democratic right to elect leaders of their choice as guaranteed under the Constitution. The Electoral Commission therefore has come up with a plan, which I have read to you, that ensures minimal person-to-person contact during the implementation of the electoral process. For example, as a result of this analysis and study, the Electoral Commission will avail nomination forms on its website that can be printed. Hard copies will also be availed. What is important to note is that only the aspiring candidate with only two people, the proposer and the seconder, the nominating guy and the seconder, will execute the nomination process. So the normal processing which we have enjoyed of having a procession accompanying the candidate to go and be nominated, this one we might have to skip it. The Electoral Commission has also stated that mass rallies will not be allowed, but campaigns will be conducted mainly through media platforms. The Commission will issue, Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize, the Commission will issue specific guidelines.
Members, we asked for this statement. Please, you will have time to comment.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Commission will issue specific guidelines for each electoral activity under this revised roadmap in the due course, and is engaging already, the Commission is engaging already with various stakeholders on the same matter. This includes detailed information on specific requirements for nomination as a candidate, access to nomination forms, nomination fees, venues, and the conduct of campaigns and polling process. This, the Commission is committed to do and has already started doing it. The above protective measures are not only for safety reasons, but they are also cost-effective in my judgment because they enhance election security, especially regarding implementation of laws on political gatherings and assemblies. I'm saying this because I have seen it. The Public Order and Management Act has caused so much trouble. Now, if you go digitally, all these guys who have been talking about harassing people on gatherings, they will have no chance. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the Electoral Commission, in consultation with the Ministry of Health, considered and adopted standard operating procedures to facilitate safe and secure participation by all stakeholders in the electoral process. The emphasis is on safety, which have been customized to elections. Madam Speaker, this is an appeal. It is an appeal by government to all the stakeholders in the electoral process. Take note of the various activities that will be conducted under the roadmap, and especially the respective timelines, so that they participate accordingly, effectively, and safely. The Electoral Commission also is appealing to political parties and organizations as well as individuals aspiring to contest as independent candidates, to utilize the time provided in the revised roadmap and prepare to participate in the respective activities. More appeal goes to media owners to avail equal opportunities to all the candidates for a fair press coverage. In this regard, the Electoral Commission has started engaging the stakeholders on the implementation of the revised roadmap for the general elections of 2020-2021 since last week when the roadmap was released. I want to assure you, Madam Speaker, that the Electoral Commission has already started and is very willing and very keen to engage, to consult the stakeholders in the implementation of the revised roadmap. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, government advises political parties and aspiring independent candidates to ensure safe practice during the primaries and other preparatory activities. Candidates and their agents and supporters are urged to strictly follow the guidelines as issued by the Ministry of Health. Finally, I want to call upon all honorable members and Ugandans at large. We need to work together to ensure safety and the health participation in the elections. Good governance entails regular, free, fair, and credible elections to contribute to political stability, peace, and security, which are now essential for social sustainable economic transformation of our country.
Madam Speaker, electing a leader does not come from heaven. A leader comes from people. And honestly, me speaking, a member of parliament for Bulambuli, I was elected because people know me. I was born in Bulambuli, I was brought up in Bulambuli, and I went to school, and here I am as a leader. I'm supporting scientific what? Election is to go on because we love our people honestly. If we really love our people, we must go ahead and implement scientific elections to take place.
Order. Order.
Madam Speaker,
Order.
the reason why I'm saying I'm supporting Honorable Kamutu for scientific elections.
Order.
Washuma.